In this lesson, we're going to review adding integers. We're going to start with the simple case of what if both integers are positive. So if I had a problem to work, something simple like 1 plus 3. If I wanted to look at why 1 plus 3 equals 4, which we know it does, if I want to look at why that is on a number line, we can look at adding numbers on a number line by starting at 0. We always start at 0 when we use a number line to add integers. If I start at 0, I go to the 1 first because it comes first, so I'm going to go to 1. And then I use the plus sign to represent an and. I'm going to move again. So I have a positive 3. So and I'm going to move again 3 places. Positive always means to the right on the number line. So from the 1, I'm going to move 3 more spots to the right. 1, 2, 3. I end up at 4. On a number line, this shows us why the answer to 1 plus 3 is 4. So let's take a look at what happens if we are in the negative area here. We always start at 0, so no matter which way I'm going to go, I'm going to start at 0. If I had, let's say, negative 2 plus negative 3, I do this very similarly. I start at 0, I go to negative 2, negative means left on the number line, so I'm going to move to negative 2. 1, 2. To the left is negative. Then the plus means, and I'm going to move again. So from negative 2, I'm going to move again left. Negative 3 means in the left direction. So I'm going to move left 3. 1, 2, 3. I end up at negative 5. So the answer to negative 2 plus negative 3 must be negative 5. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, let's say I have negative 1 plus negative 5. I always start at 0. I'm going to move in the negative direction, which means left, 1 place. So from 0, I'm going to move 1 place left. And plus, and I'm going to move again negative 5, meaning left 5 more. So I'm going to start from where I left off at negative 1, and I'm going to go left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I end up at negative 6. So the answer would be negative 6. Now, this also makes sense if you think about totaling things up. In addition, we usually think of that as being a total of all. So if I had something like negative 2 plus negative 3, I can think of that as having 2 negative signs, and, plus meaning and, 3 more negative signs. 1, 2, 3. If I look at the total, adding up usually gives us a total. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative signs. So negative 2 plus negative 3 must equal negative 5. Okay, also if I have something like negative 1 plus negative 5, I would say I'm starting with 1 negative sign, or 1 negative, and for the plus, I'm going to have 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I look at that total system, adding up, I get a total. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negative signs. So negative 1 plus negative 5 equals negative 6. So really you have 2 different ways of looking at adding integers. You can look at it as start from 0. Every time you move in a positive direction, that's your positive numbers. Every time you move in a negative direction, meaning left, you would do that for all your negative numbers. Wherever you end up on the number line, that's your answer. Or you can just count. These are negative signs, these are negative signs. See how many you have. Total them all up, and you'll get your answer. Now let's look to see what happens if you are adding, but you don't have 2 negatives. You don't have 2 positives, you have 1 of each. We can look at that first using the number line, and then again I'll show you how to do it looking at the symbols or the signs. So let's say we had a positive 3, and we're going to add to it a negative 5. Okay, remember, on the number line, we always start at 0. So I'm going to start at 0. First, I'm going to move 3, and that's a positive 3. So I'm going to move positive 3 to the right. Then I'm also going to move, the plus means and, what comes next? And I'm going to move negative 5. Negative means to the left. So I was at 3. Now I'm going to move left 5. So I'm going to go from the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wherever I end up is my answer. Negative 2 in this case would be my answer. So using the number line, for any positive number I see, I'm going to move to the right. For any negative number I see, I'm going to move to the left. Wherever I end up, that is my answer. We can also look at this using the signs method. If I have 3 plus negative 5, that would be like having 3 positives, 1, 2, 3, and, plus meaning and in this case, 5 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can look at the signs, try to put them together to get a total. But what happens here is we have positive negative pairs. Every positive negative pair cancels out. It's like if you went positive 1 and then you backed up negative 1, you're right back where you started. So they cancel each other out. Those movements would cancel each other out. So our positive and our negative pair makes a 0 pair. We call that a 0 pair, cancels out. Here's another positive negative pair. That's going to make a 0. Here's another positive negative pair. That's going to make a 0. What I have left over are 2 negative signs. Therefore, I get the same answer. 3 plus negative 5, 3 plus negative 5, cancel out your 0 pairs. What you have left is your answer, negative 2. So here's 2 negative signs left over for my answer of negative 2. Let's take a look at one more that has a positive and a negative. All right, let's say I have negative 3 plus 6. First, I'm going to do it on the number line. We start at 0 always. Negative 3 comes first, so I'm going to go left 3. 1, 2, 3. And for the positive sign, I also have a positive 6. So I'm going to go start right back here at negative 3, where I ended up at first, and then I'm going to go positive 6. 6 places to the right is positive 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I ended up at 3, so therefore the answer must be 3. Let's take a look at the sign pairs for that. If I have 3 negatives, 1, 2, 3, and I add to that 6 positives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I try to group everything together to get a total, but when I do so, I notice I have a positive negative pair. That's a 0 pair, cancels to be 0. Here's another positive negative pair, cancels to be 0. Here's another positive negative pair, cancels to be 0. What I have left ends up being my answer right there, 3 positives. So the answer of positive 3 is the same. So when you're looking at adding integers, you can do it 2 ways. Start with 0 and do the correct movements, positive and negative, see where you end up. Or write down how many of each sign you have, cross out your positive negative pairs, your 0 pairs, whatever is left is your answer. Notice that in this problem I have up here, we had a 3 negative and a 6 positive. We have more positives than we do negatives. Therefore, the answer itself is going to be positive. Whichever type of sign, negative or positive, you have more of, the answer is going to reflect that sign. If you have more positives, positive answer. If you have more negatives, you'll have a negative answer. Okay, I think that covers adding integers. We're going to be practicing some of this and see how we do.